Day 7 of the OTAs. This is the last week of OTAs, so got some things to talk about. What is up, Fin fans? Day 7, last week of OTAs. And they go on a break after Friday, and then we start training camp. So I have a few things here and there we're going to talk about. We're going to listen to one thing, and then I'm going to talk about another interview that happened. But before we jump into all that good stuff, I have to shout out a new patron, and Scott Primus. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. If you would like to join the Patreon, it is linked in the description below. And if you'd like to become a member, it is the join button next to the subscribe button. I have a few cool things happening for the members and the patrons going on. And then there's special tiers that if you want to join the Fantasy League when that starts up, when the season starts. So talk about that. Let's talk about OTAs today. Today it was closed off to the media. Tomorrow will be open to the media. And from the mandatory minicamps, we know that it wasn't great. The offense on the offensive aspect, could not speak, wasn't great. We'll get to that. But today, the orange jersey went to Tyreek Hill. So good for him on getting that jersey. He had a fantastic day. When was that? Thursday. He had the 2 touchdown passes. I think he had like over 150 receiving yards, all that good stuff. So he was the orange jersey, aka the DJ. But again, I don't have any on the field stuff. It is hush hush today, being that the media wasn't there. The media will be there tomorrow, and I probably tomorrow and Friday, being that there's 4 days of OTA this week, so it's probably on off when it comes to the media availability. But I have this that I'm gonna play for you guys. I don't know if you guys have heard this. This is Tyreek Hill on Good Morning Football. We're gonna listen to this and talk about it.
Tyreek finally responded appropriately.
I just want people to understand that I went for 150 with Matt Moore as my quarterback. I love you, Matt Moore. Versus the Minnesota Vikings. If you don't remember that game, 150 and 1 touchdown with Matt Moore as my quarterback. So what
you trying to say?
Tua T is 10 Matt Moores. I love Matt Moore, but Tua T is 10 Matt Moores.
So he was on Good Morning Football, and I guess he hears, right? He hears the clamoring. He hears all this stuff happening where people are saying, oh, he's going to have a step back with Tua. He had Patrick Mahomes. He had 1,000 yards with Patrick Mahomes, and now he's going to Tua. They're not the same quarterback, which they're not. Tua and Patrick Mahomes are definitely not the same quarterback. And he's probably hearing it, and he's coming out and saying that it's not necessarily the quarterback, the reason he was so productive, and he's not wrong. He had 1,000 yards with Alex Smith. He had 1,000 yards with Patrick Mahomes. He just talked about the fact that with Matt Moore against the Minnesota Vikings, he had 150 yards and a touchdown. He said that Tua Tagovailoa is 10 times better than Matt Moore. I'm not going to touch on that at all. But he's coming out to defend his quarterback, and it's great to see and it's great to hear. And he's right. Tyreek Hill is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And it's that whole, chicken and egg situation. We always talk about Jerry Rice. Did Joe Montana make Jerry Rice, or Jerry Rice make Joe Montana? Joe Montana didn't have a rocket arm. He wasn't the guy launching it 50, 60 yards down the field. He wasn't the Dan Marino. He was just, going to, cut you down bit by bit, kind of like a Tom Brady-esque. So I just thought it was interesting that he came out and he made those comments. But that's not the other thing that came, that there was an interesting comments happening. And one of you beautiful human beings, I want to make sure, Aries, I think your name is, I hope I pronounced it right, on Twitter, hit me up, sent me Mike Westhoff's interview with Joe Rose on June 3rd. So it was the day after the 2-day mandatory mini camp. And he asked me, what do you think of Mike Westhoff's take on Tua? And I listened to it. I jotted down some things he said. You can go check it out. It's on Audacity. Mike Westhoff with Joe Rose on June 3rd. You can check that out. But I was listening to it, and I was jotting down things that he was saying. But Mike Westhoff did not like where the offense was when he came to those 2 days of mandatory mini camps. So I wrote down that he says the little things were off. He can count the amount of passes down the field with one hand. He said the lining up was sloppy. He said it was the little things. It was the things that needed to be, that could have been fixed and done through walkthroughs, through, all these other things leading up to that were off. He said he was being reactionary, right? He's not being judgmental. He's not tearing down people. He's being reactionary. He said yesterday was a terrible example of offensive football. He said if it was him, he would have shut the music off and he would have started practice from the beginning. He said this team has the fastest team. He said, you race this team, they are the fastest team in the NFL. He said they got a good defense. He got a great punter. He had, obviously he's the special. If you don't know who, getting ahead of myself, if you don't know who Mike Westhoff is, he was a Dolphins offensive team coach for many years. He was the Jets offensive team coach. He was the offensive team coach with special teams coach with the Saints. So he knows who our punter is. One of the best to ever do it. But he said the team's the fastest team, good defense, great punter, great kicker. He says these wide receivers, any team would kill to have this set of wide receivers. And he said to come out and see how the offense was running was disappointing. He said more time. So Joe Rose asked him, this is a new offense, new installation of an offense, He says it does take time. He says, but meetings, walkthroughs, you got to look sharp. Not opening day. He's not asking for opening day offense. He's like, but playing, you have to be more effective, more efficient, especially with all the walkthroughs they went through. How quarterback was progressing, he said he doesn't understand the reason they aren't where they should be. Now, he's talking about the offense in a whole, and I'll get to it. And let me tell you more of what he said. He said he doesn't want to throw anyone under the bus. He's just reacting to what he saw. Not about yelling at the guy. They weren't where they needed to be. He said he's being real. Being real isn't about being hard. Just do it right. Don't want to yell and scream. So again, you can go listen to the whole thing on their Audacity. It was, Mike Westhoff with Joe Rose. I bet you just Google that from June 3rd. You can listen to the whole thing. It's about an 11-minute clip. But essentially he was saying that the offense looked bad. It looked poor. It looked like it should have been further along than it was coming into June 1st and 2nd of mandatory mini camps, especially with the walkthroughs they've had and all that stuff. He's not saying he was expecting day one offense, game plan week one against the Patriots offense, but he was expecting it to be further along than it was. He said it was sloppy with people lining up, all that stuff. My reaction to that is, that's not good. Now, I'm obviously going to take what Mike Westhoff has said seriously. He's been around the league for many, many years, and he is one of those coaches that has evolved with the times. He was with the Dolphins with Marino. He was with the Jets in the 2000s. He was with the Saints most recently. So he has evolved with the times. So I will take what he says extremely seriously. So the fact that the offense isn't where it should be is a little bit cause for alarm. Now, am I about to freak out? Am I about to say, oh God, we're going to suck and the offense is horrible and we should have hired Mike McDaniel? And no, I'm not there yet. A lot of the stuff that is coming out from camp, and even Omar Kelly has commented on it, some other guys have commented on the fact that the offense has looked sloppy. It has looked bad. And it's not even, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's Tua, blah, blah, blah. It's not even Tua. I could pull up tweets from Omar Kelly, from Alan Poupart. I could pull up, people talking about it. It's not just Tua. So it's not a Tua thing, because that's where everyone's going to jump. I know in the comment section, everyone's going to jump to, it's Tua's fault. It's not a Tua thing. It's an offensive thing, because it's not Tua. It's not just Tua. It's not just Bridgewater. It's not just Skylar Thompson. It's the entire offense isn't where it should be. It's kind of sloppy, because he even Mike Westhoff talked about lining up wrong and this and that. It's not just the quarterback. So I want to make sure people don't, because I know there's some that are going to, instantly point the finger at Tua. It's not just Tua. It is not just Tua. So, they have 3 more practices and training camp and preseason to show us and to get this straight, because like I said, I expected the first 4 weeks of the season, you got a new offense installed and all this stuff, a new scheme and the zone running scheme, to take a minute. And I expect the defense to kind of carry this team for the first 4 weeks against the Patriots, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Bengals. If we can come out of that 2-2, I'll be ecstatic. It's a hard run to start off your season, especially having a new offense installed. But from what I'm hearing, it's behind where it should be. And again, you guys can react the way you want to react. I'm not telling you. A lot of what I do on this channel is to bring you the information, give you my opinion on it, and I let you guys talk about it in the comment section and give your own opinions on it. But it is a little bit discouraging and a little bit worrisome, if you want my God's honest opinion, that the offense isn't where it should be. Now, again, Westhoff didn't say game day ready, but it's not where it should be. Now, I talked to you guys about bringing Mike McDaniel and how everyone is praising him and how he's a coach's player and all that stuff. Is that the reason it isn't where it is, or is there other things in play? I don't know. I can't tell you about that, but that is what I got for you from Mike Westhoff and all that stuff. So comment below. Let me know what you think about what Tyreek Hill had to say about Tua being 10 times better than Matt Moore, and about the fact that he is productive no matter the quarterback. Comment below. Let me know what you think about what Mike Westhoff has had to say. I will link the interview in the description, so if you guys want to listen to the full 11-minute clip, I'll put it in the description. But for comment of the day, I want to get to comment of the day. And this is a lot of times when I notice things and when I notice a trend of comments, I kind of lump them all together. And it has come out, and I don't know how factually these sources are. And again, when it comes to sources, I tell you about it, you believe it, you don't. I'm just giving you the information. That Tua didn't want to be captain because he didn't want to be around Brian Flores more than he had to be. Now, that's a source, and that's a rumor. There's also the rumor from, I think, Albert Wilson came out and said it. I don't know if this is 100% true, that Brian Flores had the players walk single file down the hallways, and that it was like a dictatorship. There's a lot of things that are coming out about Brian Flores and his style of coaching. And again, they're rumors. Take what you want from it. But the thing I'm going to address is I see a lot of comments, especially with Tua coming out saying that he didn't want to be the captain because he didn't want to deal with Brian Flores more than he had to, calling him soft. And I find it funny. First off, we don't know if that's the case. We don't know if that's true. We haven't heard it from Brian Flores. We haven't heard it from Tua. We haven't heard it from his teammates. So we don't know if that's true or if that's the case. But the fact that people call him soft, I find it funny because I've seen people flip out and want to fight somebody about a difference of opinion in the comment section on Twitter. I've seen grown men get into a hissy fit over Twitter conversations. And you're going to call somebody soft about not wanting to deal with somebody who is treating him, and not even him. It's been reported by multiple people and multiple sources, treating kind of the rookies and the vets a certain way soft. I find to be a little bit ironic and funny. Now, again, you could take all this information and throw it out because it's rumors. But to call a man soft when you don't know how he's being treated or what he's dealing with in the organization, or him taking, instead of dividing the locker room and dividing the team and making the controversy and dealing with all this stuff, he just bows out. I don't see that as being soft. I see that as being a team player, and I see that as being smart and not bringing controversy that doesn't need to be there. The whole time Tua had to deal with the Deshaun Watson situation, that was him. He's not one to bring controversy, to bring spotlight, to bring any of that stuff. Look at what Baker Mayfield has done, and he only had to deal with it for a week when he blew up. Tua had to deal with it for almost a year. So to call the man soft, I think it's a little hypocritical for some people. And I think it's a little judgmental because that kid has been through a lot. And I think he's the least thing soft, especially when you have Nick Saban as your head coach for 4 years. 3 years. 3 years. So I just wanted to bring that up, talk about that. But hopefully tomorrow, open OTA practice in the media. Hopefully the offense is completely different. Hopefully they get their act together and they're better. But we'll find out tomorrow. But other than that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. OTA's day 8. But like usual, stay classy. Have fun time.